What's up, everyone? I'm your spiritual gardener, here to plant seeds of consciousness in your garden. It's just your job to water them. And today I have a lot to talk about. So I want to get into the big conjunction we have here on December 21st. And I also want to get into the energy that's coming up next year. And something that I've prided myself on since I started studying astrology in 2011 was a woman by the name of Suzanne White. And what she does is she mixes Chinese astrology with Western astrology. And Chinese astrology is based strictly on your Jupiter sign, and your Jupiter sign changes once per year. So the new year in Chinese is every February. And Western astrology, we use other planets and things, but we mostly focus on the sun. So just these two aspects together, you can read a person's entire chart. And I want to show you guys some pretty cool things because I've never done this before and it's always been a part of my studies. But I want to show you how the correlation with the energy of the Chinese zodiac comes into play with what we've been dealing with and what to expect for next year. And then I also want to show you a breakdown of events. The last time we had Jupiter in Jupiter in Aquarius was in 2009. And the last time we had Saturn in Aquarius was in 1991. So I'm going to show you a breakdown of those events as well. So if you're not following me on YouTube, this video is going to be longer than 15 minutes. I really want you guys to watch this video. So please do me a favor, follow me on YouTube. It's the same handle, Spiritual Gardener. And my full video will be up there. And I'm going to go ahead and get right on into it here. All right. Okay. So we've got the ancient Chinese story with astrology. Goes a little something like this. Okay, I'm not going to read too much, but I've got my highlighted points. The emperor decided he would hold a race to determine which of the animals would be included in the Chinese zodiac. The animals, anxious to have their names written along the stars, were tasked with swimming over a river with a particularly swift current. The first 12 to make it across to the emperor would win a spot. For some, the task was easy. Others needed to get help from their friends. The rat and the cat, excellent friends, but inept swimmers, enlisted in the help of the good-natured ox. They asked if they could ride on his back so all three could cross the finish line together. The ox heartily agreed, and then the plan was set. Then I'm just going to get to my breakdowns here. The cat and the rat were overjoyed with their plan that it was working, but the rat had its sights set on glory. It pushed the cat into the water, and once safely on the shore, leaped from the ox's back and scurried across the finish line to claim first prize. Okay, and what we've been dealing with this entire year has been the year of the rat. Okay, so the year of the rat means that Jupiter is in Capricorn. And I'm just going to continue on here for my highlighted points here, okay? Well, Rat, although very small and not a good swimmer at all, used his brain and played a little trick. He convinced Ox that together they would have a better chance of winning. Ox, being very strong and Rat gifted by marvelous sight, would be a winning team. So Rat hopped on the back of the ox. When they neared the other side of the river, however, Rat quickly jumped ahead and was named first of the Chinese zodiac, followed by the ox, who came in second. So that was not the plan, okay? Plan was not for the rat to, use him and then leap ahead. Now, another story here. The cat was always bullied by the weak rat. However, the rat only swallowed the anger. As soon as the cat heard the news, he asked the rat to wake him up the next morning to go together as he was a sleepyhead. The rat promised to do so, but to take revenge on the cat, he went out early without waking up the cat on that day. After waiting for the come of the ox, he asked the help of the ox to carry him across the river. With the help of the honest and helpful ox, the rat successfully crossed the river. However, he didn't jump off from the ox's back until they arrived at the door of the Jade Emperor. Just as the ox was about to win the race, the rat leapt on the Emperor Jade before the ox. Thus, the rat won first place and the ox won second. So that doesn't seem like a very fair race, does it? Alrighty here. And then when this tournament and its rules were announced, the cat heard all about it and wanted to tell his rat friend. In earlier times, both the cat and rat were very close friends. The cat told the rat that he was eligible to compete because being an animal was the only necessary qualification. When the rat arrived, he saw that there were already mighty strong brown ox poised on the tournament platform, welcoming on all challengers. The brown ox was large in size and extremely mighty. He thought little of having the tiny rat as his opponent. He was overconfident as he stood boldly on the tournament platform, readying himself for the battle. The ox raised his front legs and pawed and scratched on the ground as he was prepared to stomp on the rat and flatten him into small meat patty. However, the rat was light in weight and quick and agile in movement, so that he was successful in sidestepping the charging ox. The rat jumped onto his feet and catapulted himself on the back of the ox. The ox was helpless to this attack, and the pain inflicted caused him to scream out with an admission of defeat. The judge had no alternative than to award the rat as the coveted prize. The ox was embarrassed and speechless to have lost to the rat. Another one. While we are aware of the hatred between the cat and the rat, these two animals were actually very good friends once. Good friends they may be, but these two animals are worse swimmers in the animal kingdom. Although bad swimmers, they were both intelligent. They decided that the best and fastest way to cross the river was to hop on the back of the ox. The ox, being naive and good-natured animal, agreed to carry them across. However, when there was a carrot dangling in front, it is sometimes difficult to stick to friendship, and the crafty rat decides that in order to win, he must do something and promptly push the cat into the river. Because of this, the cat had never forgiven the rat, and no doubt hated the water too. After the ox had crossed the river, the rat jumped ahead and reached the shore first, and it cleverly claimed first prize of the race. And I believe here's the last one. The swarmy cat and wily rat asked the ox to carry them on its back because they hadn't a clue how to swim. When the ox had nearly reached the shore, the rat pushed the cat in the water, drowning the poor thing, and jumped off the ox's head, landing on the shore first, shortly followed by the angered ox. Okay, so we have been in the year of the rat. And if you have not noticed, the rat was sly. You know, it had its tactics. It knew it couldn't win, but it, downplayed its friend, the cat, threw him off the ox. And then instead of joining the race together to win as one, he took head and jumped in front of the ox and beat the ox, all when the ox is being good-natured. So Jupiter in Capricorn represents the ox. That's why it does not do good in Capricorn. Jupiter in Capricorn is the worst position for Jupiter to be in. You would think if the rat won, right, it should be a great year for Jupiter to be in for the year of the rat. That goes to show you that it's not, because Jupiter is its absolute worst position in Capricorn. So yes, the rat was sly, the rat had techniques and so on, but they weren't good techniques. They weren't fair. Okay, so that's my first point about that. Now, I want to get into another part here. So this is very important, okay? Because in the Chinese zodiac, we have metal, water, earth, and fire. And wood, sorry. Now, if you look here where I have 2021 circled, it says the earth grows metal in her veins. So this is for the year we are in is the metal rat year. Okay. That's this year of 2020. Sorry, I didn't mean 2021. 2020. This is 2021. Sorry, that's sloppy. Okay. So take a look at what I highlighted there. Metal is cool, crisp weather. Metal's effects on the body centers in the lungs and respiratory system. The lungs and respiratory system. Okay, what issues have we been having this year since we entered the metal rat? Lung and respiratory issues. It's only second ruler, large intestine and nose. Its influence can sometimes add sadness or gloom. Two of metal's emotional forces are melancholy and romance. Metal people must guard against the tendency to wallow in nostalgia. So we've had these issues all year, and we've had a little bit of gloom and sadness and, you know, wallowing in that 100%, and romance that we've not been able to really get our hands on because of all the restrictions. But you know, there is a little bit of good news coming up. Oh, I did have that right. I'm so sorry. This is 2021. So next year is also going to be another year for a metal year. It's going to be the metal ox year. Okay. So these lung problems and respiratory problems, I don't see them going away next year. I see this being a continued thing that we're going to have to be dealing with. I don't see this whole issue going away next year. And, you know, the good thing though, is the following year here in 2022, we have the water tiger coming in, and water is all good energy. Okay, so the highlights I put here are people born in water ruled years are frequently musical. They pick up on everything, be it good or bad. They never miss a vibe. Water endows its subjects with the noblest quality of all, kindness and sympathy. Okay, so we have a lot of good things to look forward to in terms of health-wise, especially after 2021. So 2021, we are going to still have these lung and respiratory issues going on, but after that, I see it getting a lot better from that point. Okay. Whoopsie. All right. So, oops, sorry here. I don't know why that got mixed up. Anyway, okay. So if you take a look at the rat qualities, okay, rats are communicative, familial, thrifty, skillful, idealistic, loving, experimental. Those are my main highlights. So those are the good traits. You know, we've been trying to have some form of communication with others. Our family has, you know, we've tried to have that be a priority. Definitely thrifty this year. We have had no choice. Skillful in finding new ways of doing things, 100%. You know, we're longing for love. This is the thing that we're lacking the most. And so it's been very hard this year. And, you know, if you get over here to the negative qualities, and this is a lot of what's been exploited to us by our higher ups, a lot of possessiveness, you know, a lot of ourselves being defensive, a lot of excessiveness, maybe buying too many things that we don't really need. There have been some very bossy people, if you haven't noticed. Definitely exploitive. Anxious energy. I mean, come on. Argumentative, 100%. Opinionated. Okay. Everyone has their own opinion right now, and it's like impossible to try to sway anyone any other way. But we've got some good energy coming, okay? So next year with the ox, The ox is a hard worker, okay? That's why the ox allowed the rat to hop on its back. It was trustworthy. It cares for the underdog. And that's a lot like the energy we have coming up here in Sagittarius as well. And so the ox has integrity. The ox has strength of purpose, very diligent, innovative. This is going to be a big thing for us. Okay. We're going to have to get extremely innovative with new ways of doing everything, because with Saturn being in Aquarius, Aquarius is all about the inventor. And, we're going to have to find our own ways of doing things. Because if you haven't noticed, we've kind of had to do that so far this year, and it's not going to just disappear this next year. Laborious, so very hardworking, very strong, hardworking, very loving. Every ox I know is extremely loving to a fault. They're almost like the Cancers of the Chinese zodiac. Okay, so this is going to bring in a lot better energy. Love to tell stories. Some of the bad traits, it can be stubborn, stuck in their ways of doing things. Okay, that's a lot like Aquarius. It's a fixed sign. Standoffish. And, if we have this whole situation continuing, we've already been kind of standoffish, so I don't see why that wouldn't continue even stronger. Bias. That's going to be the hard one, because, we've all got our own opinions and everybody's all over the place with it. So that's definitely going to be a hard one. Now, competitive, that can be good. That can be a good quality to have, but, as long as you're not bulldozing over your competition, there needs to be some equalness there. And the ox, offered its back to the cat and the rat with no problem. So it's all about helping others. But, it can bring some cold energy, some introversion, judgmentalness, and operating at their own pace. Okay, so these are just some of the qualities of the ox. Now, to sum up what we just went through, which was Capricorn in the year of the rat, I'm going to do my highlights here. It says, when unbalanced, workaholics driven by the fear of failure, or hermits who see the world as both a threat to their well-being and an enemy to be conquered. I mean, have we not been hermits this whole year? Have we not felt threatened for our well-being? Like there's an enemy out there right now? We have been feeling this energy all year, 100%. Ultimately, survivors are first. Okay, so this is like survival of the fittest. Everyone's kind of going for their own thing this whole year. And at the bottom here, don't rely on luck to get by. They only rely on themselves. So, we really haven't had much luck. We've had to kind of do stuff on our own. A lot of people with businesses that have been put out, like, that didn't get any help, and the help that we did get was very minuscule. Like, we've had to try to fend for ourselves. Now, here's some more on the Capricorn rat. So, very opinionated. My goodness, are we not all extremely opinionated this year? Little sympathy for anyone who chooses pleasure over ambition. Oh, you're going out to Thanksgiving? You're not staying at home? Little sympathy for people that are trying to just live their lives. 100%. Sympathetic to their family and friends. They secretly can't stand it when people don't take their advice. So there have been a lot of people that are just outraged that people don't understand their point of view, but everyone has a different point of view right now. Everyone has a different point of view. Controlling and conceited, which only makes them want to listen to their advice less. So yeah, why would we want to listen to things that are just controlling? And that's what we've had a lot of this year, is a lot of control. So it's kind of pushing us away from wanting to listen to things. Now, success and victory are not enough to create their own happiness. They need to make time to relish the simple joys in life. Don't have to be so black or white. Make time to relish in the simple joys in life so that we can still do that. We still have the ability to find joy in life. There's a lot going on, but if we're just sitting here and stuck in our thinking and and our way of being and controlling and opinionated. And I mean, that's not doing any help. There is no black and white. There's always a gray area. Okay. So there needs to be some understanding of that. Now, how has love and friendship been going this year? Let's see. So when they do make themselves available, make true and loyal friends, but only to a few people at a time. So, yeah, we've only been able to hang out with a certain amount of people, not our usual friend groups. You know, some have different opinions right now. You know, we've all been kind of stuck to maybe our family or just like our neighbors or whatnot. But this is all, you know, coinciding with the energy. This is the Capricorn rat. And for romance, romantic relationships can be challenging. Are they not challenging this year? 100%. They also don't feel comfortable settling down in partnerships. And I'm sure a lot of people don't because of everything going on in the world right now. So romance has not been easy this year at all. They're also notoriously bad at breaking off relationships that are no longer working. So some people may have been in relationships that are just staying in that relationship now because they don't want to be lonely. They know that if they leave, it's kind of hard to go out and find a new partner at this moment. So they're kind of just settling. And I know quite a few people that are doing this. So this is another thing that we've been going through this year. Leaving a lot of relationships unresolved. Okay, so this is all correlating. Now, career. They do very well where they are administrators of duties to others. So being bosses. And what have we had a lot of this year? Telling us what to do. Check this out. Very political. And they're not afraid to voice their opinions. Politics in general is a realm that they can really get into. But they must be careful that ambition doesn't turn into obsession. And yeah, we've had a lot of obsession surrounding this year. 100%. It's divided us more than anything. Okay, so we are living in the year of the Capricorn rat, and I mean, just look at it. And check out the careers that they would be most fit for. Lawyer, politician, real estate agent. Real estate agents have been doing better than anybody right now because people can't afford their homes. People have having to move. People have been selling their homes because the market's good. So yeah, what a great job to be in right now. A lawyer too, politician, hey. Manager of some sort, administrator, stockbroker. Oh, hey, yeah. Director and entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a big one because we do need to start setting the stage because this next year, we're going to need a lot of entrepreneurship. So that's going to be a big one. All right. So now moving into next year. Okay. So this is the energy that we're going to be feeling next year. This is the Aquarius Ox energy. These are some of the most curious people you will ever meet. They can be exceptionally smart and hardworking to a fault. They are the cartoonish mad scientist. And Aquarius represents the mad scientist, 100%. Okay. But in reality, they are much more grounded than this. They have many layers to their thinking, but are always fair with others. So do you see that? That's already a lighter load. Just like the ox was very fair in allowing the rat to jump on its back and cheat him in the race, the ox is always going to be fair. Okay. So we are moving into Aquarius. Aquarius is all about humanitarianism. It's all about other people. So we're going to see a lot more fairness, 100%. They're not overly social, yet they work extremely hard on projects with the intention that others can benefit from them. There again, worrying about other people, okay? So it's not going to be so much as fending for themselves like the rat did. It's more so caring for other people this next year, and that's going to be a huge theme. The best way to describe this person is a person who works hard to succeed but has to do things their own way. So another big thing is, coming into this energy with Jupiter and Saturn, Jupiter is all about the inventor. Okay. And we are going to have to pave our own way in doing things. We're going to have to come up with new plans, new ways of making money, new ways of doing everything, really. As you can see, this what's going on right now is not really working. So doing things our own way is going to be a big thing. They don't like to follow the typical ways of doing things, mostly because they've already figured out how to do them much better. So that brings in a little bit of a rebel concept, and not in a bad way. Aquarius does represent the rebel, and we've got some Uranus energy that will be affecting this as well. So that's just astrology. Now for love and friendship. Okay. So they come across as mysterious without intending to. Even those close to them don't really know them at all that well. This is not intentional. They're actually very friendly. They're just more interested in listening than talking. So, even the ones that know them don't really know them that well, because we've gone through a lot of changes this year, a lot of spiritual changes, a lot of, on every angle you can think of. So if you're planning on reuniting with old friends and stuff like that, there will be new sides of yourself that you will have to introduce yourself to your friends as. And, when it comes to meeting new people, we might just be a little bit closed off because, this isn't over yet. Like I said, this is going to be persisting till 2022. I believe in March is when all these issues are going to be over with, hopefully. Okay. So this is not intentional by them. They're actually very friendly. They're just more interested in listening than talking. Okay. They don't fall in love easily, and they can be hard to get to know. Once they let you in and trust you, they will be loyal and protective. So this is going to be a lot about trust. So making alliances, making new friendships, and trusting them. But these people are the most loyal and protective. That's the ox for you. So, we're going to be probably branching out, meeting a lot of new people. And, you don't trust people right off the bat most of the time, especially with all this Aquarius energy. Aquariuses are very weary of things, and they think a lot more with their head than their hearts. So, it's not going to be the easiest year for love again, not until 2022, but it's definitely a lot lighter than this year. Okay. They're the most interesting and friendly people that you can find. So that's all good. Okay. Now here's for career and goals. You will never find this person playing the role of a salesman, waiter, or bartender. Okay, so pay attention to that there. That's a little bit of foreshadowing. It's already been kind of obvious that we have not, restaurants have closed, bars have closed, sales, everything's online. So it's an obvious prediction, but I have a feeling that these type of jobs are going to be done away with. So if this is your main type of work, I would start looking for something different, because this is not going to be it in 2021. It's just not going to work out. They work hard with the time and freedom to do things their own way. This is pretty interesting. They excel as teachers, at higher education levels, and make great professors. So this is a little ironic because we have the South Node in Sagittarius, and the South Node in Sagittarius represents teaching and schooling, and we've seen a lot of that not being available for us anymore. South Node in Sagittarius also represents the false guru. It's the false prophet. It's the people we see telling us what to do and what's good for us, when the back of our heads are telling us, well, I don't know, I just saw this and that, and I don't think what this person's telling me is right. So I have a little prediction that we may find a completely new way of doing schooling, and it might be completely out of the schooling system. And especially since down here, they enjoy sharing their unique way of seeing the world with others. In particular, they do best as professors of social sciences, archaeology, anthropology, sociology, and social psychology. So this is all about learning about people and learning about sciences and getting back to our roots. So these will be, I think things that are going to take off this next year 100%. And if your teaching credentials are in that area, then I don't think there's going to be any issues. But we're definitely going to see some even greater changes to the schooling system. So just keep that in mind. It says that not all of them enjoy education. In fact, some downright hate it. So, some of us might not even choose to take that route. But this is really interesting here too. They can be found as mechanics, construction workers, carpenters, or even artists that work with big industrial materials like metal sculptures. So what does that sound like to you? That sounds like way back in the day, like some of the first jobs that we ever had. Like Jesus was a carpenter, artists. We're going to see a lot more of people working on their passion and their art. I consider this astrology a form of art. A lot of nitty-gritty work, mechanic work, construction work, industrial stuff that we need to get done in this world are going to be the main focal points of work. So keep that in mind as well. So it looks like we're kind of dating back to, the old ways of working, because so many people are out of jobs, and this whole salesman bartender deals, it's not going to be what you guys think it is anymore. So, definitely keep that in mind as well. Now, for the Libra ox in 2021, a strong-minded and loving bully, the Aquarian born in the ox years is destined to a lifetime of slog and struggle uphill against his own unwillingness to conform. So there will be, we're not going to be conforming to a lot of things. We're going to be a little bit smarter by this time, and we've already done this test run for almost a year now, so we're going to have our thoughts in line, and we're not going to be conforming. Oxen want to be left alone in the country somewhere. So I wouldn't be surprised, and people already are, going off the grid. This person is a family type who enjoys her work and her children most. Very loving family type people. Okay, that's what this whole next year is going to be about. Romance, hearts, and flowers are not tops of this character's list of priorities. She has a great sense of humor and admirable lucidity about how complex she really is. I don't recommend this person for passionate love affairs, but they often are excellent cooks and great storytellers. So, it might not be the best year for that passionate love, but, this is going to be a big year for making friends, 100%. And there was one more that I wanted to throw in here. So this is what we've been dealing with this year. Rats want power. Of course they do. Capricorn wants sway over others. What have we been getting? Powerful swaying by other people. Many times to the detriment of anything from reputation to family or even health. Read that again. Many times to the detriment of anything from reputation to their own family or even their own health. That's how much they want power. We've had this problem. We've had problems here, even with our own reputations. Okay, so, and it's not everybody, but I think this is on a global scale, because good old Cappy here represents this. So, it hasn't been the easiest by far. In constant grievous danger. Yeah, we've been in that all year. Because this person is a rat and so ambitious for power. That's why we've been in constant grievous danger, because of the ambition for power. Power, 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 power. Oh, but be careful, because they're sensitive to criticism. So, don't criticize anything and get banned off of certain, platforms because of things that you say that are just might hurt them a little bit. And they're far from romantic. Hold the candles and flowers, please. Let's just get on with the sex. So I don't know if you guys saw a lot of that stuff that was like, oh, if you have sex, keep your mask on. Well, there's a good representation of that. I mean, that's pretty much saying just get to the sex. And people probably aren't wanting to kiss and do all that other stuff. I mean, if you're with your significant other, yeah, sure. But if you're trying to get in new relationships, like there's not much romance, there's not much kissing, there's not much for none of that stuff, you know? And I just thought it was interesting that Richard Nixon is a Capricorn rat, because we've been talking a lot about him this year. So just some interesting things there I wanted to share with you guys. So, you know, it's really been my passion with the combining of these two, because it really does make a big difference. Like I said, Chinese astrology has been around long before Westernized astrology. So, you know, you need to take everything into consideration. And we do have, you know, this December 21st conjunction coming up. And with that, Saturn and Jupiter are going to be meeting exactly. And so some people call this the Bethlehem star. And it's the star they say Jesus followed for, or they followed for Jesus's birth. And, you know, look out in the sky on December 21st. It's going to be very bright. And, you know, there's a lot of talk, and I'm just going to give it all to you. You know, there's the talk of the second coming of Christ. You know, there's talk of a new Christ-like figure being born at this time. There's also talk of, and I've said this many of times, something called the curse of Tippecanoe, the presidential curse. And what has happened every 20 years, look it up. Every 20 years, one of our big figures has been assassinated. And this is falling exactly on this conjunction for December 21st of this year. And, you know, some other talk, our calendar has been back 8 years from the Gregorian calendar. So the whole 2012 year that we thought was, you know, everything was ending, technically that's this year. And, you know, just from this year and what I've seen, it does seem like a lot of things are crumbling, but a lot of higher consciousness is evolving. So I think this is the year of the Great Awakening, 100%. And moving into, with Saturn being in Aquarius for the next 2.5 years, you know, Aquarius does rule astrology. So I think astrology is going to be something that people are going to start taking a little bit more seriously, 100%. And, you know, Jupiter in Sagittarius, I hope I didn't say Sagittarius before, Aquarius. So Saturn in Aquarius has brought about what I just said. And then Jupiter going into Aquarius brings about big inventions, huge inventions. And, you know, it's really a time where people want to unite, because Aquarius is the humanitarian and the year of the ox is the humanitarian. It's a double humanitarian year. And, you know, it's hard right now, but I think we are going to, the veil is going to start to kind of come down, because in March of 2021, we're no longer going to be having Neptune, squaring the north and south node. So Neptune squaring the north and south node represent the directions we're supposed to be going towards. When Neptune makes a hard square to this area, it kind of makes us delusional. We're not able to see the truth, and we are being lied to. And you know, Neptune represents media. So the sources that we're trying to gather our information from are not the best right now. But this will be lifting in March, and we are going to be seeing a whole new energy. You know, we're going to be able to actually see things for what they really are come this March, mark my words. And once the Chinese New Year starts, February 12th, just literally to that day, Jupiter and Saturn will finally be far enough apart to where they can be acting on their own. So I think that the energy is going to be full throttle for trying to gather groups together, trying to form different types of connections, maybe not being so fearful in making these connections with other people, because, and like I said, March, that veil is going to be lifted and we're going to start to see a lot more truth. So, you know, March will be a really good month coming up, and as well as February. But the one thing that I do want to bring up, because this is astrology, is, Mars is making a hard square to this crazy energy, and it's going to be making it starting, it's starting now, but December 21st, all the way through April. I believe it ends in May. So from now till May, there's a big warning around war. And this is going to be a mass war. This is going to be a world war. So that's a prediction. I pray that does not happen. But it's kind of hard to say. The astrology says that that's what looks like is coming. And I've done a lot of research and seen a lot of things already to where it's kind of hard not to think that way. So that's why I've been telling everybody, get prepared, like have some solar lights, have this, that, just be prepared. There's no harm in preparing. You over prepared, so what? You have extra stuff. Cool. Maybe something happens someday. Worst thing you do is, oh, no, nothing's going to happen. Then you're knocking on your neighbor's door and they don't want to let you in because you don't have a mask on, or you know what I mean? Like, be prepared. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. So we do have a lot of good energy coming up, okay? So a lot of good energy coming up starting February, March. March is really going to be good because the veil is going to be lifted. But all the way up until May, this whole war thing is still going to be kind of bouncing around. But the energy is going to get so much lighter on February 12th because Jupiter will be away from Saturn and it's going to be able to do its own thing. And people are going to want to unite. We're sick of being away from people. We still have the North Node in Gemini, and Gemini is all about gathering thoughts, and Geminis love people. They love to be out and about with people, so that's another big thing. And now one more thing I wanted to show you guys is, some of the past energy that we've had when we have had Jupiter in Sagittarius, as well as all right, so we'll start when we had Jupiter last in Sagittarius, okay? And there's a few things here I really want to point out, but I'm going to kind of brush over them. So, Great Recession, 800,000 jobs lost. So, I mean, I would not be surprised if we see more jobs that are going down the barrel. It's kind of hard with what we've already had and been seeing, you know what I mean? Let's see here. Also, Aquarius represents, the alien and a lot of things are represented with space. And we have a lot of space stuff going on in the year 2009. Okay. All right. So February 10th, a privately owned U.S. satellite and a Russian military satellite collide over Siberia, scattering space debris over 800 miles, potentially threatening satellites in nearby orbits. Here's an invention. Disney XD, February 13th, begins broadcasting. February 18th, President Obama orders the deployment of 17,000 additional U.S. troops to Afghanistan. There's more war stuff. February 24th, the Orbiting Carbon Observatory, a new 278 million NASA satellite designated to precisely measure atmospheric carbon dioxide levels for global warming research, crashes near Antarctica just after launching. Right. NASA, March 7th, launches Kepler mission, a space photometer, which searches for planets in the Milky Way that could be similar to Earth, inhabitable by humans. Interesting. March 9th, Obama overturns the era policy that limited federal funding to embryonic stem cell research while promising that human cloning will be banned. So these are all alien type of situations. March 13th, Federal Reserve says U.S. families lost a record of 18% of their wealth. Supreme Court agrees the denying same-sex couples the right to marry is unconstitutional. Iowa becomes the third state to allow same-sex marriage and the first state in the American Midwest to allow such unions. So like I said, the alien, very alien things, same-sex marriage. So we might see a lot more things coming about with maybe trans people and their rights and, you know, only growing from there. There were a lot of mass shootings this year, too. Vermont legalizes same-sex marriage, April 7th. The World Health Organization, April 24th, calls the reported cases of swine flu in Mexico and the U.S. a public health emergency of international concern. Then April 27th, Air Force One, photo op controversy. An Air Force One backup plane and an F-16 fighter jet, approximately 1,000 feet over lower Manhattan in a photo opportunity organized by the United States Department of Defense. Citizens who have not been informed of the event are alarmed due to fears of the repeated 9/11 attacks. More murders. Yeah, more army stuff, you know, soldiers wounded, crazy weather, tornadoes. Obama, May 19th, announces vehicle emissions and mileage requirements. Under the new federal rules, vehicles will use 30% less fuel and emit 1/3 less carbon dioxide by 2016. The changes will add $1,300 to the cost of each new vehicle. So there's some more, you know, inventive things. We're trying to change how we do things in a different way. More earthquakes. NASA launches June 18th, the Lunar Resonance Orbiter, LCROSS probes onto the moon, the first American lunar mission since the Lunar Prospector in 1998. Michael Jackson died that year. President Clinton meets with North Korean Kim Jong. Check this out. September 2nd, the Justice Department announces the largest healthcare fraud settlement in history. $2.3 billion involving, you see what that says? Do you see what that says? Where are we getting our shit from right now? Do you see what that says? The biggest fraud settlement in history. Look what we're going into right now. Literally. God. Illegal immigrants will not be covered as healthcare proposal. More climate change stuff and nuclear proliferation with the UN Council. They were helping Rain Day, Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network's annual campaign to stop sexual assault on college campuses. So more humanitarian help, Aquarius. Microsoft releases Windows 7, but they've already done a lot, but another invention, I guess. So November 3rd repeals recent action by state legislature that had legalized same-sex marriage. So we're going back and forth with the same-sex marriage thing here. Worst mass shooting in U.S. military base. November 5th, Fort Hood. November 13, having analyzed the data from the Cross lunar impact, NASA announces that it has found a significant quantity of water on the moon's Cabeus crater. So, like I said, it represents astrology, Aquarius does, and it represents alien type of things, and outer space is one of them. So we saw a lot of that activity this year, if you can't tell. Planet 51 released in theaters, ironic. Virginia's smoking ban for most restaurants goes into effect. It's more of a humanitarian thing. All right. And let's see what happened when Saturn moved into Aquarius now. All right. Gulf War, January 12th. Operation Desert Storm, January 17th. Ground troops call Saudi Arabian border and enter Kuwait, thus starting the ground phase of the war. Destroying an underground bunker in Baghdad, killing so many people. All war. War, 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 war. Check this out. March 3rd, an amateur video captures the beating of Rodney King by Los Angeles, California police officers. So when Saturn just moved into Sagittarius, this was when the George Floyd stuff happened. Okay. And then it went retrograde back into Capricorn, where it's been since May. So we're moving back into that territory. So this is not over. This whole George Floyd thing and stuff like that. And, with, I don't, it's we're about to see some more stuff. Okay. So March 3rd is when that happened. And what happened after that? All those riots. More war stuff. Oh, then March 15th, 4 Los Angeles, California police officers were indicted for the videotaped March 3rd beating of motorist Rodney King during an arrest. And then Germany formally regains complete independence after the four post-World War II occupying powers, France, the United Kingdom, United States, and Soviet Union, relinquish all remaining rights. So it looks like some alliances made. A lot of plane crashes and hostage situations. A lot of weird weather, which we will be seeing because Uranus is going to be making weird aspects over to this energy. And Uranus is all about unexpected weather. June 5th, a space shuttle Columbia carries the Space Lab's Life Sciences 1 module into orbit. Oh, we had that giant earthquake, June 28th, that shook all of Los Angeles, that crazy earthquake that if you're anywhere near LA, you felt that thing. That was the craziest one ever. I remember that. Solar eclipse. Why? Jeffrey Dahmer. So a lot of killers and shit. July 31st, United States and Soviet Union signed the START 1 treaty limiting strategic nuclear weapons. August 23rd, Super Nintendo Entertainment System is first released to the United States. So there's another invention with technology. That's all Aquarius. Nirvana Nevermind, great song. All right. So, as you can see, the events that we had in the past, as they say, history does not repeat itself, or history repeats itself because of astrology. That's why history repeats itself. If you say that and you don't even know why you say that, it's because of astrology. So, we are likely to see quite a few events that are very similar, lots of new inventions, lots of our rights that we're going to be trying to gain. And I don't think this whole like protesting type of stuff is over. I really don't. Especially because when, the eclipse happened and when the sun moved into Gemini season and now the North Node's in Gemini, I made a post about it that we are going to be seeing the most rebelliousness. We're going to be seeing the most riots. We're going to be seeing the most everything. And 4 or 5 days later was when the George Floyd incident happened. And that was when Saturn was, like I said, in Aquarius, and then it's retrograde back. And now it's moving back into Aquarius. So whatever was unsettled is going to be settled. So we're not done with that situation. It's not over. And the good thing is we're going to be bringing a lot of inventive energy to ourselves and to like minds. And so we really do need to find people in our tribe, find people that we can talk to, find people that we can really move forward with, because we can't really rely on all of this other stuff anymore. If you've noticed, it's not been easy. We haven't really been able to take care of ourselves. We've been restricted to certain things, and we're not going to be like that forever. We don't live in a communist place. We didn't sign up to live in one. And so all of these rules and restrictions and mandates possibly, but the energy will be much lighter moving out of Capricorn, that's for sure, because it's not going to be so much GOV. It's more going to be about the people. So this is literally our time to rise. It is our time to rise. And this first year with Jupiter is going to be the best. Okay. The next 1.5 after 2021, or sorry, February of 2022, Jupiter won't be in Aquarius anymore. So it's going to be a little harder. So starting February 13th of 2021, the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn are going to be moved away and they can kind of work freely. So we're going to have a lot of inventive energy, a lot of energy to kind of gather friends and really try to move forward with new plans and new hopes, and not restrictions that we have been under by the GOV for so long. So there's some good hope in that. Like I said, there are some possible scares coming up, but the best thing you can do is be prepared. Don't let yourself be overwhelmed by it. The last thing I want to say real quick too is that we have, there's some talk about the event coming up on December 21st that, there are going to be some solar flares. And if you look up the Carrington event, okay, we had a similar situation happen to this, to where we were able to see the Aurora Borealis from here in the United States. And so I don't know how many states are going to be able to see it, but that is another big thing. Like I said, I've been predicting massive blackouts. I've been predicting them as far as especially the internet goes. So just be ready. There's nothing to be scared of with that. And just know it's going to be anywhere from the 21st to the 24th that we can experience this. And if we do have an Aurora Borealis type of situation going on outside, there will be green smog everywhere. And it's nothing to be scared of. They're going to tell you all over to go in your house, it's radioactive, it's this, it's that. I mean, no. Don't trust anything you hear until March. Let's just say that much, okay? So just be prepared as much as you can. Be prepared. Don't be scared. Fear is the opposite of love. That's not going to bring you anything good. Best thing you can do is try to detox your body from any heavy metals. If you're eating too much red meat, you know, that's something you want to try to cut down on, because that does not only increase your chances of, you know, high cholesterol and blood pressure and heart attacks, but you know, it's not good to have red meat in you. There are too many studies of it. There are many alternatives. And I think we are having a big awakening. And if you have any of these heavy metals in your system, and that's why we have like mercury fillings and all that stuff, I got all mine removed, but these are things that don't allow you to progress on a spiritual level. So you want to try your best to rid those things from you, and you know, hope for the best. But like I said, stay in love. Do not let fear override. Fear is the opposite of love. And whatever's coming, there's no stopping it now. But just be prepared. Be prepared to take care of yourself and your loved ones and the best that you can. But don't let that tell you what to do. Don't let all of these feeds tell you what's going on, because if you haven't noticed, one says one thing and then another says the other thing. If you're relying all your trust on that, then you might as well just go bury your head in the sand, because you're better off trusting your intuition 100%. So it's going to be a big week. I've got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys. I hope you guys grasp that, and it was understandable. But I'm going to be doing some more like this, to where I am going to be using my old technique with Western and Eastern astrology, because it is the most efficient. And like I said, history doesn't repeat itself. So if you want to go look for yourself in 2009 and 2009 and 1991, see the events that were happening, and you will see similar events coming about now. But like I said, a lot of it's going to be new inventions. A lot of it is going to be unifying us, especially this first year. Okay. So from February of 2021 till February of 2022, we're going to feel the most united, and that veil will be gone in March. But be prepared for the unexpected. But like I said, keep your heart in love. I love you guys.